All right, now this video is over your monitor system, and I'm sure most of you already have a general idea of how this works. I'm going to go back and turn on the power play so we can turn this on and change our settings. So now that the monitors are turned on, you'll basically want to set up your mix. And I see you guys are using Shure monitors, and those are great. It's a great monitor system. I say monitor system as those are great headphones, in-ear monitors for leading worship. I use a similar model, and basically from scratch, most of these are probably already set up right. But say you want to choose a channel. These are your 16 channels you want to choose. You can select and edit. So let's say channel 1, and we can set our volume with that, with this little knob over here. If you want it in your left or right ear, you can change by moving the pan balance knob. Or you can also click it to send back to the middle. You can click the volume button as a mute. You have your solo and your mute. And what these might be good for is, say someone's using a microphone they don't always use. You can click solo to find out who is using what microphones, or what instruments are on what channels. You can use mute. Let's say, for instance, there might be a song accidentally playing on the computer back in the sound booth that was not properly stopped. They didn't pause the song while the first song is going on in church. I know this from experience. You can actually just click the channel you want to turn off, like say PC or whatever it is, and just mute it. And that way it's not distracting you from worship or the first song you're doing. You got your main volume. You can turn that up and down. This is your main output volume. You can adjust this as well. I like to have this set probably around maybe 12 o'clock, right up in the middle, or maybe a little bit higher. But I like to keep this one about 3 LEDs from the top, 3 little lights from the top. That way it's not completely low where you have to have this all the way up. But I like to keep this at a neutral, centralized area, and then adjust this or so, like that. So that's your main volume settings. You do have a limiter, which, say someone accidentally drops a microphone, you don't want that to completely ruin your hearing because it's really loud in your headphones. You can adjust this so it'll stop the volume from reaching a certain point, and this can be set by whatever threshold or volume you want it to be limited at. I usually have this just a tad above, tad higher than your main output. But if you do have something that sounds kind of like crushed for a moment, like it's your volume is here and then it gets really squashed just for a moment, or it has a pulse, so it fades back in, that might be a good sign that your limiter is not properly set. So you can raise your limiter a little bit and adjust your level out, but that's what those are for. A little bit more complex, professional things you could do on this, and more advanced, I should say, are the equalizer. And this is a really good tool for, let's say the drums are a little bit, you don't hear the thump from the kick drum that you would like to hear. You can go to the EQ, and I basically usually sweep these up, because sometimes it'll be down here and you gotta go down and grab it before you can edit it. So I'll have that down here. I'll sweep these down, up, and then adjust accordingly. Say I want more bass in my sound, I want more bass in my monitors from the kick drum, or all the drums individually, as a whole. You can set up the EQ like that. The mid, the way this works is, here's your gain, your minus and plus for volume of that one, the middle band, and frequency. So if you want to say the vocals are really, really aggressive in the higher, not the treble, but the higher mids, you can turn that down and then sweep it up to where it sounds good. And of course, at my church, Renovation Church in St. Joe, Most of the entire worship team doesn't even touch their EQ on their monitor system. I think it's just a few of us that utilize this, because you can still get a good sound without even touching EQ. It's just basically to taste. The treble will change the high frequencies of the sound. But like I said, most of you will probably never adjust these things because it sounds fine without making adjustments. And that's how the EQ works on the P16. As a whole, you can save and set up and recall and store settings. So if I hit store and say the power gets shut off, you're not going to lose your settings. Your settings are always going to be stored after you make the edits. If you want to recall a sound, say someone comes in here and they change stuff, you can hit recall and it'll take you back to your original starting place where before you changed things. To make it kind of a little bit more simple, you can group items together. Say we want to group vocals together. I'll choose 13, 14, 15, 16. Whatever might be sent to those channels is irrelevant. So we have our groups right now. They're flashing because they're in a group. And whenever you select one of these and raise the volume, it'll adjust all of them that are in that group. Now the opposite, not the opposite, but another way you can do this is link. So if you had a stereo signal, like maybe a computer in the booth, you could click a channel and click link. It'll link the odd even pair. So this is 15, 16. And now that I turn this off, if I raise the volume of 15 or lower the volume of 15, it'll do the exact same to 16. And this one is panned left, this one is panned right. So that's the exact same as having these not linked and having this one panned all the way to the right and this one to the left. But of course, you probably won't do that ever, more than once. So I think the way it's set up right now is just about fine for, what you're doing. So there's really no need to change a whole lot at the moment. So I'll set these back up to somewhat where they were. And that is a basic rundown of how you set up your monitor system on stage.